From Fries to Feast. Once upon a time, there lived a widow with a lot of children in a small village in the south of a big country. She was young, charming, and very beautiful. She lived in a small house with her mother, father, and children. The family was very poor and was always hungry because they were at war. Their country was attacked by a neighboring country's army. They grew vegetables such as onions, cabbages, and carrots in their backyard. They also had chickens that provided the family with eggs, but they remained hungry because there was not enough food. The children did not go to school because all the schools were closed due to the war. They were even banned from learning their language. However, the children were lucky because their mother had been the cleverest girl in her class when she was younger, so she was able to teach them everything they needed to know. At night, she taught them to read and write. And every day, she took the eldest children into the forest to show them where the edible mushrooms grew. She showed them which plants were poisonous, which roots they could eat, and even which plants had juicy leaves that could be chewed. But still the children remained hungry. One day in the morning, when everyone was upstairs in bed, somebody knocked at the door. "Do not answer it," said Grandpa. "It might be enemy soldiers who have come to kill us." "Do not answer it," said Grandma. "We might be arrested for teaching the children." "Do not answer it," cried the children. "We are scared." "Do not be silly. Soldiers do not knock." "It might be a neighbor who needs our help," said the widow, and she went downstairs to open the door. But the widow was wrong. When she opened the door, there were indeed two soldiers. One fair and one dark, both dressed in gray uniforms, both with guns thrown across their shoulders. The fair-haired soldier held up a big, dirty sack. "Oh," gasped the widow. "We are working in the fields today and we want fries for lunch." "Here, cook these," he said and pushed the dirty sack into her hands. "And we will be back at 1 noon," said the dark-haired soldier. "Have those fries ready by then." And with that, the soldiers turned around and headed off toward the neighboring farm. "Fries," thought the widow. "What are fries?" By this time, the entire family had come down the stairs to see what was going on. "What are fries?" she asked them. But none of the family members had ever heard of such a thing, not even her grandma and grandpa. "What is in the sack?" asked the children. "Is it a cat?" inquired the youngest. "Or flour?" asked the eldest daughter. "Or vegetables?" asked a third son. "Or Christmas present?" exclaimed one of the greedy sons. But it was none of those things. When the widow opened the sack, she revealed big, lovely, muddy, white-fleshed new potatoes. The family gasped in amazement. They had not seen so many potatoes since before their father went to war. "How am I going to make fries out of these?" asked the widow again. "I do not know what fries are." Now it was Grandma's turn to speak up. "Do not be silly," she said as she took the sack from her daughter. "They are potatoes. We know how to cook potatoes. We will scrub them, peel them, and boil them for the soldiers. Then we will make a soup from the peelings for ourselves. Come on, kids, let's do it." Grandma gave each child a handful of potatoes to wash and peel. When that was done, she lit the fire and hung the biggest cooking pot over the flames. Then she poured in fresh water and the chopped potatoes. The whole family sat around the open fire, watching the water bubble and boil. "Those soldiers made a very big fuss for this," said the youngest child. "It is not so special," said the eldest. And that is when the grown-ups started worrying. Maybe it is not special enough. Maybe the soldiers will be angry. Maybe we should add some herbs, said Grandma. And maybe a few cabbage leaves, said the widow. And a few mushrooms, said Grandpa. Of course, cried the widow, and sent the eldest child into the forest to collect the biggest, juiciest mushrooms, plants, leaves, and berries. When they returned, everyone added just a few more ingredients, and then just a few more. And then a few more still, until they had made a pot of the most delicious-smelling stew that simmered and sizzled and sent delicious smells wafting around the little kitchen so that the children's bellies rumbled and their eyes grew wide with hunger. "When can we eat?" they asked. "When the soldiers have gone," said the widow, as she put a lid on the pot so that they would not be tempted by the wonderful smells. At that time somebody knocked at the door. It was noon. "Sit down and sit still," the widow said to her children. "And hide the potato peelings so we can use them to make our soup." The widow opened the door and invited the soldiers to come in and sit at the table in the little kitchen. The children watched as the soldiers took off their caps and sat in the chairs at the little table. The widow set the table with 2 bowls, 2 spoons, and 2 forks. All eyes were on the soldiers as the widow carried the pot from the fire to the table. The fair-haired soldier took some rye bread from his pocket and tore off chunks to share with his friend as the pot was put in front of them. "What if they do not like it? What will they do?" The widow lifted the lid from the pot. The soldiers both stared in disbelief as she poured the thick potato soup into their bowls. "What is this?" cried the soldiers. "We want fries." The children looked on anxiously as the widow explained, "This is how we cook fries." "This is not how to cook fries," the dark-haired soldier shouted, as he wrestled the ladle from the widow and threw it back into the pot. "Sit down," said the fair-haired soldier to his friend. "I am hungry." "Let's eat." "But I wanted fries." "Well, at least try it," said his friend. With that he lifted his spoon, gently blowing so that the steam curled around his hands. The children watched droplets of condensation form on the edges of his glasses. The potatoes were very hot. Suppose they were too hot? The fair-haired soldier at last put the spoon to his mouth and slurped through his teeth. "Well?" asked the dark-haired soldier. The fair soldier spat the potatoes all over the table. "What is this?" he shouted. The widow stepped back in case the soldier intended to hit her. The children feared. The baby cried and was shushed by Grandma. "You are feeding us food that is only fit for pigs," he said, his face twisted in anger. He got up from the table and hoisted his rifle across his shoulder, pulling the strap against his chest. The kids got scared as the soldier touched the rough leather of the strap with his thumb. "I am sorry," said the widow, backing further away from the table. "It is our favorite recipe." "Favorite recipe?" "It is garbage," he repeated, almost laughing. "Your favorite recipe is garbage," mocked the dark-haired soldier. "Come on," said the fair-haired soldier to his friend. "Let's leave this pig place. Stupid peasants do not even know how to cook fries." And with that, they both walked out of the widow's home, laughing to themselves at how stupid the peasants were that they did not even know how to cook fries. When they were sure that the soldiers were gone, the family added the potato peelings to the pot and cooked the whole lot up, even adding some more herbs for extra flavor. Then they all gathered around the table and shared the most wonderful stew they had ever tasted, dunking big chunks of the soldiers' rye bread into the steamy broth until their tummies were full to bursting. All of them were very happy that day because all of them ate to their full appetite.